So that's an interesting thing. You're talking about physical and digital kind of coming together. And
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of research that shows that consumers today follow a random walk. No longer is it the old funnel where I found something, I found out more details, I went to the shop, I bought it, and I experienced it. It's a pretty random walk now between all of this. But something interesting happened this week, right? I mean, we're both in Singapore. Robinson's iconic store in Singapore has announced that it's going to shut down and cannot function. And something interesting is happening in China and Hong Kong, where Ant Financials had literally the largest IPO of all time. And is this
Correct.
kind of, I know you're saying the two worlds are coming together, but is this story over? Is the physical guys lost out to the digital guys, and maybe the digital guys like Amazon launching its own store going to go physical? What do you think is going to play out in the next few years? Has digital won the battle completely?
Well, I think what's happened is the conversation was, the notion that there were these two different channels was a product of the evolutionary thinking. And that evolutionary thinking, which is what I'm worried about, even with AI, for example, that evolutionary thinking means that you're going to polarize it and it's going to become this or this. And the answer is neither one of the pure players are going to be successful ultimately. The ones who are going to capitalize the most on it are the ones who recognize the value that physical interactions and virtual interactions can play and make the most of that. And so I think this is why, Robinson's going down. They stood by their pure play position of a physical retail space and rode it into the ground. It's not surprising there's going to be winners and losers. There's going to be companies who refuse to adapt. Those have historically been the species that have become extinct in the world, and that will continue in business as well. So I think anybody who doesn't embrace both is in big trouble.
And that's a really fascinating take, Tim. I kind of deliberately set this conversation up by asking you, are you a left brain or right brain person? Because I know you're not. I know you're both. And every time somebody asks me, you talk return on experience, I talk about return on data all the time, and I also keep telling, but I'm actually more of a human design thinker than I am a data person. But I'm just staying with that thought of of adapting, and the whole thing about the age of relevance really is that I keep saying it's about the people that stay relevant that are going to succeed. So this new creature, this hybrid creature, would sees both data and experience, both left and right brain, both physical and digital as one thing. You're arguing that this is not evolutionary, this is revolutionary. Is there any example of somebody who you think is out there in terms of that revolution? Anything that you come across in your life, either from your clients or your experiences with the cutting edge of that revolution?
Well, like I said, I think that Xiaomi is doing a really interesting job of bringing that point of view together. I think there are companies. We're working with one of the major healthcare providers in the world right now, and we're really interested in that integration because particularly in healthcare, there's an important part of that human to human interaction, and there's an important part where the information, communications, and things can happen in a virtual space, and the insights that are derived from both are going to be stronger than one or the other. So I think it's it's a plus versus a division between one or the other. And I think that kind of polarity is natural, the way we tend to frame and analyze things. But I think it's time to have to challenge the paradigm and to think about it differently. And the notion that those things coming together are far more powerful than either one by themselves is truly valid.